Yo, what's up agents, and welcome back to another Division video. We are on the Year 8 Season 2 PTS, and we are going to check out the brand new seasonal climax reward for next season, the Underboss. You can see me holding it right here. Yes, it is a Tommy gun, and I have dressed appropriately for this video. Before we get started though, if you want a Discord with your daily escalation targeted loot sent to you notified if you want to as well, you'll find the link for my Discord down below in the description, along with a really cool Division 2 resources channel with all of the guides and updates for everything that is going on in the game right now and in the past. With all that said though, let's get straight into the video and we're going to check this gun out. Now, first of all, let's take a look at the actual gun itself. So as you can see here, if I compare it to a regular Tommy gun, I know this is a named one, but there's no difference in this. You can see that the base damage is the same, the RPM is the same. Just be aware I've got strikers on at the moment, so it is getting a slight RPM boost. The mag size comes out the same, headshot and optimal range all come out the same. The reload time is exactly the same, again taking into account the weapon handling that I've got in my build, and then we've got the talent on the bottom. Now the talent is pretty interesting. It gives 20% amplified damage for just hitting the enemy. No stacking, no having to worry about anything weird. Literally you hit the enemy and you get 20% amp damage, which obviously sounds quite good. But the problem is it is on a Tommy gun. So is that going to make up for essentially the Tommy gun's flaws that it has? Because there is also something else that we've not talked about here, is that you can see it has no mod slots on the regular Tommy guns, but they've added a mod slot. If you can see here, we get the optics rail, the Underboss optics, and it gives us 15% crit chance. Now, that still sounds pretty rubbish because obviously you look at mods on the first bloom that I've got here. That's got 3 mod slots. My Lexington's got 4. My Dark Winter's got 4, which as you can see add a huge amount of stats. Like, this is like a crazy amount of stats that we can add. So, does that mean that this is just going to come into the game and just be a huge loss straight into the stash or an exotic component? Well, let's actually find out. So, first of all, we'll just shoot some stuff here. And as you can see, it's got a pretty SMG style of, you got to be pretty close. There's quite a bit of bullet spread. And then obviously when we've got things like, Ouroboros, Chatterbox and things like that in the game, am I really going to want to run this? And if I am running strikers, I probably wouldn't run strikers with this. I'd probably run Hunter's Fury potentially or something like that instead. But if we do push it right to the very top, make sure I'm using the right gun, obviously. You can see there, we're hitting a mill with strikers at the top. So yeah, not terrible at all. And if I switch back to the other one, you can see it's 900k. And the talent on the grown grey, it's not affecting our damage, is it? No, it's not. Just our weapon accuracy. So the talent gives us an extra 100k per hit at max stats. So is that good? Now, also, if other team members run that, you can add an extra 5% amp damage. The problem here being is that they have to tag the enemy, and if you're running heroic or whatever, then the enemy's probably dead before you can get 4 extra marks on an enemy. So, and are you really going to use this gun up close and personal in escalation? Probably not. So the talent isn't that great. Essentially, you kind of have to base everything off getting 20% amp damage, and anything else would just be a bonus. I can't really imagine me loading into a mission and going, oh, everyone put your underbosses on, let's do that, because everyone then will have to adjust builds, and that's even harder now in some cases when it comes to prototype gear and things like that. So let's take a look at the maths. All right, so let's take a quick look at the maths, because the maths will basically just tell us, is this gun worth building into at all? Now, I've put 4 different builds together in a very limited scenario. They're all strikers. They're all strikers backpack. They're all strikers chest piece. They're contractors gloves, and they have the salvo holster. That might not be the best build for it, but it just keeps the baseline of the gear exactly the same. Myself, as I've said previously, would probably run Hunter's Fury with this gun, because I do like to run that with SMGs. Anyway, with all that said, you can see here at the top we've got the Underboss, and that's a baseline, and it's got 100% there. You can see at the top the head crits would be just under 1.4 million to an armored enemy. Brilliant, looks great. That is a decent amount of damage. And as you can see, the body crits are just over 1 million, as we saw when I was hitting the dummy in the range earlier on. Now, what is interesting is build number 2. That's as if 3 other people were running the same build, also using the Underboss, and were able to get a hit on the same enemy. So fully stacked. That's not going to happen very often. Maybe bosses, maybe if you were using it in raids and, you know, and things like that. Maybe more so in escalation, but I really can't see an up close and personal gun being used too much in escalation. But you can see on average we do around an extra 12.5% extra damage than if I just hit it myself. But now you've got your own baseline. You know what damage numbers would be hit between 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of people. I just really wanted to throw that in. Next up, I wanted to just show, basically it would be a regular Tommy gun with killer, and that drops down on average around 8%, depending on, that's if I, you know, go off average from a head and the body shots. It's around 6.5% for body shots and around 9.5% for headshots, and that's simply because of the loss in crit chance, because we don't have any mods on the regular gun. And also 20% extra damage right off the rip off the talent is very good. We don't really have another talent, you know, that we can put on that gives us instant 20% amp in this case scenario. So killer is one of your higher damage talents, adding 70% extra crit damage. So obviously we're never going to run the regular Tommy gun again. There is just literally 0 point once this comes out. But then what if we compare it to, not that Dark Winter, because that one is prototype, we compare it to this Dark Winter here instead? Is that going to do anything extra? Because we get all of the mods that we can apply to this as well, and it gets 90% on Perfect Killer. Now I know this might not again be a perfect example because you've got to get the kill, but let's take a look at it nonetheless. Well, actually, the Dark Winter wins by on average 5.69%. So as you can see here, headshots it's around 2% extra damage, and on body shots it's around 10% extra damage. So that is pretty interesting. But what you've got to think about here as just a little bit more is the fact that I have just up here, I've got a prototype Dark Winter with Echo. Now you can see mine prototyped with just SMG damage maxed out, because this is just one that I had expertise to 30 and then I switched it over. But obviously this one is going to win out significantly more. Again, I've got to get the kill on said gun to make it viable. So we've got that to think about as well. But if we go into our expertise library here, and we go to SMGs and we go to talents, there's a whole bunch of things we can think about that we could run. Now we could run, we wouldn't run Ranger, we wouldn't run Fast Hands. You know, you could run Optimist. Very, very good, and not having to rely on any kind of, you know, you just shoot your gun and away you go, and that's going to work very well as well. If you're running pulse, we get 15% amp damage right off the rip from flatline. Again, going to be better on an SMG that's better from burst than what anything else is. We've got streamline that you can run as well. We've got measured, which I think is really, really good. You could run that as well. And if we take a very quick look at the burst values for the SMGs that we have in the game, you can see the Tommy gun is kind of about, what, a third of the way down, with the Vector, which is the Dark Winter variant, literally just sat just above it, because obviously it has a really good RPM. So any of the other guns above it potentially are going to outpace it. So is it a bad gun? Not really. The talent does it a huge favor. Am I gonna really use it and build into it? Probably not, because it's literally just okay. It's not best in slot. It doesn't do anything particularly special, which is a little bit of a shame because it's an exotic. It's just not got that X factor that you would hope that an end of mission exotic would have. Now, if they add more mods to it, potentially this thing becomes an absolute W. But as of right now, we've just got so much other better options because of variety and control that we can take with mods and talents and things like that, that although this thing is okay and you'll be able to breeze through a heroic mission with it, no problems at all, it just doesn't do anything particularly special. And the fact that anything that is prototyped is quite easily also going to just outdo it. So I would really, really like them to add something special to the talent. Exotics should be special. They should do something a little bit more wild. And this one, yeah, it just comes in a fairly average, good SMG. Maybe it's cool, you can dress up and, you know, and do what I'm doing here. But yeah, I'll let you guys decide if you're going to run it or not. But for me, it's just okay. That is going to be it for the video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, agents, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. It's got the daily escalation targeted loot posted, so you can put notifications on it, get it sent straight to you every day as it resets. Join my Discord. The link is in the description down below. But don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, agents, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.